Ground zero of a new era. The physical devastation of Japan in 1945 left the country sifting through literal and psychological rubble. That rubble was cleared for concrete almost immediately. Under American occupation, Japan underwent a hyper-accelerated industrialization, adopting Western capitalism while discarding its imperial past. Author Kazuo Ishiguro anchors his work in this period of sudden transition. He focuses on the tension between a nation rewriting its history and the individuals caught in that rewrite. This tension defines Masuji Ono, the protagonist of Ishiguro's 1986 novel, An Artist of the Floating World. Ono is the quintessential postmodern unreliable narrator. As an aging painter who once produced right-wing propaganda for the imperialist regime, Ono spends the novel engaged in an active process of historical revisionism. Lying to himself is a mandatory psychological survival mechanism. It is the only way he can inhabit a society that now views his life's work as a betrayal. Ishiguro doesn't simply tell us that Ono is deceptive. He engineers that deception directly into the DNA of the text. To find the truth, we have to look at the fragmented structure of the novel's timeline. We have to analyze the linguistic clash between Ono's internal justifications and the blunt dialogue of those around him. Finally, we must look at the spatial symbolism of the physical environments he describes. Deconstructing these layers allows us to see through the gaps in Ono's narrative and observe the history he is actively attempting to obscure. The novel uses a diary entry structure. This format immediately traps the reader within a highly subjective, curated perspective. Ono's recollections are associative rather than chronological. He doesn't tell his story in order. He follows the paths his memory happens to take. The entries are dated October 1948, April 1949, November 1949, but the large chronological gaps between them hide more than they reveal. This creates a detective form narrative. The truth is located in the silence between the entries, forcing the reader to investigate what Ono omits. The primary example is Ono's betrayal of his student, Kuroda. He turned Kuroda over to the authorities for unpatriotic activities, but he hides this fact behind pages of unrelated digressions. The fragmented structure of the book isn't just a stylistic choice. It is a literal architectural reflection of a mind evading its own trauma. To find the truth, we must separate the diegesis, what Ono claims, from the mimesis, the realities shown through external action. On the diegetic side, Ono uses his internal monologue to justify his past and maintain his dignity. His language is marked by high-modality phrasing, repetitive assertions, words like surely, phrases like no doubt, and I wouldn't for a moment. This phrasing functions as a psychological tool. Ono uses the grammar of certainty to artificially inflate his own importance and mask his doubt. Before the plot even unfolds, Ono's syntax betrays him. His authority is entirely manufactured by his word choice. The external counter-narrative comes from the younger generation. The dialogue of characters like Suichi and Miyake provides the mimesis that punctures Ono's claims. They speak from the other side of a massive generational divide, the gap between disgraced imperialists and the youth who grew up during the occupation. Suichi uses sarcasm to pierce through Ono's high-modality defenses. He speaks bitterly of brave young men dying for stupid causes, directly insulting the wartime values that Ono's art helped promote. Even Ono's daughter, Setsuko, uses this linguistic friction. She urges her father to take precautionary measures for her sister's upcoming marriage negotiations. The dramatic irony is that her polite phrasing masks a threat. She is actually notifying him that investigators will be sifting through his political record. The truth isn't found in Ono's summaries. It exists only in the friction between his internal claims and the hostile dialogue of his family. Because Ono's memory and language are both compromised, Ishiguro grounds the novel in physical space, the documented, tangible changes to the environment. The Sugamura house is the central symbol of Ono's pre-war status. It was a home awarded to him for his reputation, not his bank account. But the house was damaged in the war. The blast hit the extravagant corridor, leaving it cracked and billowed. This ruined corridor serves as a physical metaphor for Ono's damaged pride. His social standing is as fragile as the repairs he attempts. We see the same shift in the Migi Hidari pleasure district. Ono romanticizes the floating world of paper lanterns, but that world has been replaced by concrete and office buildings. This spatial transformation is the ultimate evidence. Japan's imperialist past hasn't just been forgotten, it has been paved over by a new reality. These three layers, the timeline, the language, and the architecture, work together as a single cohesive engine. The nonlinear structure mimics the way a mind steers around trauma. The linguistic clash between irony and modality exposes the social judgment Ono faces, and the spatial symbolism grounds the evasive text in a ruined physical reality. These mechanics reveal why the floating world is so hard to capture. It's a version of history inseparable from the person telling it. In this novel, memory does not work like a historian. It works like an artist,